So that takes me into what do you do with frequencies? Because I was fascinated, and I'm going to sign up for this. Is listening to your voice and hearing the frequency of it, so you know what's going on in your body.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the quickest rundown because it's literally something we could get into and talk about all day. It's called an AO biofrequency scan. And what it does is it takes 10-second voice clip of your voice and it analyzes 171 different frequencies in your body. So, for instance, I mean, we're all energy. So, anybody out there listening, you have to kind of agree to disagree or agree with that because we all are energy. So, everything has vibrates at a certain
Yeah.
frequency. So it knows this machine or this app has had programmed into it what a healthy eyeball frequency is and what a healthy nose frequency and a
Mhm.
sinus cavity. They know what a healthy version of those things vibrate at. So what this does is it sends an electrical or frequency, takes your voice and it goes out to every single cell in your 100 trillion cells in your body and it analyzes how that's that vibrational frequency.
Did you know your voice holds a frequency that can tell you what's going on in your body? Can you imagine that? And couldn't this, or don't you think this could be a powerful tool to help release your hidden trauma? I have just the person to help you do that. Hello and welcome to Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith, your guide to a soul-powered life. You are invited to join my Facebook group called Soul Power Living, where we can continue discussions started in these podcasts. Joining me for this discussion um, is Tammy Vincent, and we're going to talk about releasing hidden trauma that lives in your body. She uses biofrequency voice scans where she identifies the patterns your body is holding. Tammy teaches that when you grow up in dysfunction, your body learns to survive before it even learns to feel safe. So Tammy's a trauma-informed coach. She's an international speaker. She's an author, and she's a nervous system practitioner, which my poor nervous system is looking forward to working with her. Um, so, so through a blend of nervous system work, subconscious reprogramming, and energy-based tools, she teaches practical strategies that create real and lasting changes. Welcome, Tammy. I'm so glad you decided to come on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Nancy. This is super fun. I'm
Oh,
excited.
oh, me too, me too. So tell us a little bit, trauma-informed coach. What does that mean?
So basically, anybody that has been through any kind of trauma kind of develops some lasting effects, I guess you could say. So being trauma informed really just means having gone through and kind of studied and learned what it entails and what the kind of repercussions are when somebody goes through trauma. So you have training on like PTSD and complex PTSD and how it affects your body, how it affects your mind, how it affects your spirit. But it's really kind of a broad term in my use. I
Mhm.
used it primarily in the beginning for adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families, primarily for adult children of
Oh,
alcoholics, because anybody I've ever known that has gone to a therapist for that gets treated for complex PTSD.
is that helpful to be treated as complex PTSD,
um
or is it, or do you do something a little bit different?
well, it's not necessarily that it's helpful, it's just a way of giving kind of a name to what happens when children grow up in those really, really
Right.
dysfunctional families.
They get post-traumatic
Because
stress.
just, everybody kind of thinks of PTSD as when you're in war, right? And
Oh,
it's so
yeah.
funny. And I remember my
Oh,
therapist said to me,
okay.
she said, Tammy, you were at war every day of your life. Why is that any different? I was like, oh, yeah, good point.
Thank you for that. Yeah, no, I hear you. Good point. So trauma, what is this? Okay, so breaking free. Let's talk about breaking free. You recognize it. How many times have you heard or somebody said to you, okay, now that I know what it is, what do I do with it?
Oh, a million. And more often, I hear people say, I've read all the books, I've done all the things, I've gone to therapy, and I still don't understand why I still act this way. Like not
Exactly.
being able to set boundaries or not being able to stand up for yourself or just getting triggered so easily by little things. That's really the people that I work with.
I love that. I love to hear that because information is precious, but it doesn't always give you what you need. So I'm pulling all these words, all these terms. So adult children of dysfunction doesn't have to be just alcoholism. It can be a lot of different things.
Oh yeah, I tell people, you can have dysfunction without having alcohol or drugs involved, but you can't have alcohol or drugs involved without having dysfunction. So the adult children of dysfunctional families, which ACA, which used to be adult children of alcoholics, they've actually now changed the name of the whole brand or whatever, the whole worldwide concept to adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families.
Oh, good.
So now when anybody's invited that went through those chaotic, unpredictable, unstable, unloving households. And what they really found is it doesn't matter what the dysfunction is, it has the same everlasting or same principles, and it does the same thing to the little human psyches at those critical ages of development.
Right. So you do a lot of work around understanding the child development, I would think, or
Yes.
from growing, how you develop our belief systems, how you develop patterns, how you see the world. No matter what the world looks like, you're going to see it this way because of what
Right.
you experience. So I asked you earlier, I'd like to talk about some of the concepts that you've come in to understand around teens nowadays.
Okay.
Um,
I know. And we were talking about how difficult
yeah.
it is to talk to teens now. And it really is. And it's a different world we live in. I mean, I didn't have cell phones when I was younger. Even, like a child now or a teen can have a boyfriend or girlfriend for like a week.
Yeah.
And, as a parent, you're thinking, oh my God, it's only been a week. But you forget that now with cell phones, a week of being with someone, even if you never see them physically, you're with them 24/7. So these relationships are catapulted, and just because it's hours and hours and hours of talking, but I feel like they're also in a way kind of shallow, if that makes sense. So
Mhm.
I don't know how to describe that the best way,
Oh yeah, do your best because I want to hear
but
it.
I mean, a good example is when I went on a date when I was 17 years old and went on a date and went to the movies with the guy. It was me and the guy and the ice cream parlor or wherever it was and Friendlies or whatever we did. And we were together and had each other's undivided attention. Now I watched these relationships where they're out with their friends and they're just constantly texting and hold on, I got to text my boyfriend and hold on, I got to do this and hold on. So they're constantly connected but not connected, and that's what I think is missing now in humans in general is authentic connection, like real true connection.
Yeah, yeah, hear you. So here's the thing. I was single for lots of my adult years. So texting's coming in. I'm older, so texting is kind of a new thing to me. And but then I got used to it. And there was this thing of like you a blip, and then that person is there, and you think you have to answer it right away. And then the person goes, I texted him this and I said this, and they didn't get back to me. Well, it's been an hour. That's not a lot of time. But and then there's this intensity, but I still don't know who that person is on the other side. You see what you know what I mean? It's like this the
Hmm.
emotion is up, but the information is low. Does
And
it?
it honestly becomes very addicting, I think, for teens more, because I
Oh
think
yeah.
especially since there's this, there's not that human connection going out in groups as much as possible. I even look at a lot of the kids that sit home on their video games and they talk online for hours
Yeah.
and hours and
Oh
hours,
my
and they're
God.
not with each other. And so it's not like and there's nothing, even Zoom. Let's take my coaching for instance. I can coach you one on one, face to face on a Zoom meeting. There is nothing like me sitting next to you on a chair and looking into your eyes and putting
Yeah.
my hand on your shoulder. Nothing matches that.
Yeah.
With, when you talk about nervous system regulation, people don't co-regulate anymore. They don't feed off each other's energy as much because they're not together. So, and texting, as far as I'm concerned, it's a blessing and a curse because you can't read intention and you can't read emotion and you can't read what I meant to say
There's all
on a
kinds of
piece of paper.
projection that goes into it too. You texted me this and you said this, and I'm like, I did, but that's not what really I said.
Hmm.
And yeah.
And I think there's a lot of confusion. And I think that for that reason, there's a lot of confusion, like going back to teens with teens and parents. There is that lack of real connection and real communication. And nobody's fault. Everybody's busy, everybody's doing their thing. And it was fun. I remember one time I was like, put your phone down and listen to me. And I remember my son, he was probably 16, and he said, when's the last time you put your phone down and listened to me? And I was like, ouch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Be- because we do it. We're all stuck on that phone. My husband has a business. His text goes off 24/7.
Yeah.
I do TikTok lives, and now that's the new thing is everybody wants to talk to me after the TikTok live. And I finally said, guys, boundaries. No, when I'm on the TikTok live, I'm there to answer questions and have a meaningful conversation, as meaningful as it can be, with me talking, you listening. But I don't sit there and message back and forth, hey, pretty, how you doing, all day. That's not my style. But people want that instant gratification. They want to know that they can reach you at any time, any moment.
Yeah. I was going to, how does that impact the development of, somebody from childhood going into adult? And then you add a layer of dysfunction onto it.
Well, I think the problem is that we don't teach kids anything outside of that now, so they don't have that emotional intelligence of being or emotional maturity, really. And if they had that, and they wouldn't have that. I mean, it's literally an addiction. That phone is an addiction, and the person on the other side of that phone is an addiction, literally. And people
Mm.
say, "Oh no, it's not." But doom scrolling is an addiction, and people can say whatever they want, but really, an addiction is just anything you do to numb something else. Like you have a need, you have an anxiety, you have a stressor, so you pick up something to get that dopamine hit. And for millions of people, I think it's that phone.
It's turned into the phone.
It's
Yeah.
turned into the
Yeah.
phone.
I've read a couple of places where it was designed to be that way because of merchandising and selling things, but I don't really care why it's like this. I just care that it is. And how do we, yeah, that I have a sense of stress. I hear the phone go off and I have to take care of it. What is it? What is it? Or what did I miss? What did I miss? And I'm like, I don't have a life until I
No,
turn the
you could
off.
you could literally be stuck on it all the time. And it's funny because we talk about I'm very into energy, and we talk a lot about energy. And a good example, and you talking about it's designed to be like that, is 100% accurate. When my son used to play this one video game, I couldn't even walk in the room. I would walk in the room and I would go so irritated and so anxious, and I never knew why. But I could. It was one of the, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto or some obnoxious teenage game, right? That these kids play. And I could even tell, like, the minute I walked in the room, I'm like, oh, you're playing that game. And I couldn't wrap my head around it. Well,
Wow.
it's come to find out, I don't remember what the game is, so don't quote me on that. But years later, as I was getting more into this energy healing, I found an article, and it was how that company got in trouble because they put frequencies into that video game
No.
that caused
Wow.
addiction, caused hatred,
Wow.
caused anger, caused to get people to get so mad that they would buy coins to kill these people on this game.
No, sir. Oh my
And
God.
so I'm very sensitive to energy. So those frequencies, I couldn't even listen to the game. I couldn't even be in the room.
No
And
kidding.
that was 10, 20 years ago. I didn't know
Now,
about all this stuff
is
then.
this game still on the market?
Oh, I'm sure they all are. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
they
mean,
all
they
have
all.
it in
Yep.
there.
Okay, that's what I was
This
thinking.
one probably just mastered it a little quicker because there are frequencies that calm you. I mean, people will say turn on 528 hertz and listen to it, and you will have,
Yeah.
calming, and you want to calm your gallbladder down, listen to this frequency. There are obviously, with everything, there's polar opposites. So if you can use frequencies to heal, you can use frequencies to hurt. So people just knew those
Well said.
frequencies.
Well said. So that takes me into what do you do with frequencies? Because I was fascinated, and I'm going to sign up for this. Is listening to your voice and hearing the frequency of it, so you know what's going on in your body. What is
Yeah,
that?
so I'm going to give you the quickest rundown because it's literally something we could get into and talk about all day. It's called an AO biofrequency scan. And what it does is it takes 10-second voice clip of your voice, and it analyzes 171,000 different frequencies in your body. So, for instance, I mean, we're all energy. So, anybody out there listening, you have to kind of agree to disagree or agree with that because we all are energy. So, everything vibrates at a certain
Yeah.
frequency. So, it knows this machine or this app has had programmed into it what a healthy eyeball frequency is and what a healthy nose frequency and a
Mhm.
sinus cavity. They know what a healthy version of those things vibrate at. So, what this does is it sends an electrical or frequency, takes your voice, and it
Mhm.
goes out to every single cell, and you have what, 100 trillion cells in your body, and it analyzes how that's that vibrational frequency. and then it comes up with imbalances. So it's not necessarily diagnostic. It just tells you where it's out of balance. And it analyzes your chakras, your meridians, which is all like Chinese medicine. And it's amazing the things it tells you. But I am going to offer, for the people listening that are like, okay, I have no idea what the heck you're talking about, I am going to offer a free scan to anybody, because it takes 10 seconds of your voice, and then you can do whatever you want with the information. But the most powerful part of it is it sends back to you the balancing harmonics to balance out some of those frequencies.
It sends back that, wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it will tell you, and it's the same technology, like the voice part of it is the same technology they use for lie detectors.
Oh my.
And that's why you can't trick it, because, and again, this goes back to my work. You can trick your mind, but you can't trick your body. So when you talk, it is a culmination of every single thing that is going on in your cells right now. So if you're a little stressed out, you can't make your voice, you cannot rationalize your voice out of that to sound calm. Because it's your body and it's your nervous system that is producing your voice.
Wow. By the way, to my listeners, if you're listening to this on my YouTube podcast, or if you're just listening to a podcast station, scroll down to the notes, and the link to her AI biofrequency voice scan will be there. So please use it. This is an incredible gift, Tammy. Thank you so much for offering.
You're welcome. Well, it's a gift because we don't know our patterns. And that's how I got into it. When someone ran one on me and then did a summary, threw it into like a chat, whatever, an AI summary, it literally spelled out my life for me. Like, this man that had never met me that ran this thing on me literally told me so much about myself. And I was like, this is insane. And it's because of patterns. And your body is so violently good at protecting itself. Your body is there, your mind is there, it's all there for protection. But your body is very resilient, and it will cover up for something that's happening for a long time until it can't anymore.
Oh, until it hits the bricks. So you've got this, you go farther. People can do whatever they want to with this biofrequency feedback thing, but you take it, listen to it, and what will you do if a client says, work with me on this?
So I do have a scan club that's literally $25 a month, where people can scan unlimited throughout the month. That's where the real power comes in, because what I do behind, you leave me a voice message, whatever you want, a 10-second voice message. I take all of that data and put it in a spreadsheet, and then I run it for patterns. So I'll give you a quick example. I don't know how much time we have here today, but I'll give you a quick example.
Oh, please go. You've got time.
Okay. A gentleman scanned one morning, and everything was kind of normal. Everything was just, he had just eaten breakfast and done yoga or whatever he did. I don't know what he did. The next day he scanned again, and I looked at it and I went, whoa. So I texted him and I said, did you just work out? And he's like, yeah, I just got back from the gym. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. And he said, why? I said, because all of your arterial arteries lit up red, like out of about, because his blood flow was different. His, his vascular viscosity rang up like flagged. And when I say flagged, I just mean it showed out of balance. So, which means it was being stressed. So he had just gotten back from the gym. But not only that, the funniest part is I told him, I said, okay, you need to do some research. And he said, what? I said, you're either sitting wrong. I said, did you work out your legs? And he said, yeah, I did a pretty intense leg workout. I said, well, you're either sitting wrong or something is going on. I said, but your left side is taking the brunt of all of that, because your bursa lit up on your left ACL lit up, your left foot lit up, your calf muscles lit up, all of this stuff lit up. And he started laughing and he goes, my right leg is a ½ inch shorter than my left leg.
No kidding.
I said, so your left leg is taking the brunt of all of the exercise. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a physical therapist, but I picked up on that. And I said, find out how you can either balance yourself or do something so that you are working out evenly.
Put it extra thick.
Or whatever he had to do. I'm not a physical, I was like, I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to fix that, but I saw the pattern.
Yeah. Wow.
So he was like, that's crazy. So now people that are in my club will use it to test things. Like, they will run a scan and then they'll have a big, greasy, fatty meal and run one again 6 hours later.
Oh,
and they'll see what lights up,
no
because it does
kidding.
give food sensitivities. It gives, like, good example is if I eat peanut butter, and I love peanut butter, love it. But if I eat it, the next 3 days, it will show up in my gallbladder. I'll have gallbladder markers.
Yeah, I bet I'm on a elimination diet, and that was one of the first things they took out, peanuts and peanut butter,
Yeah.
because they said terrible things about it. And I've been living on that forever. So in
Oh, I
any
love it.
event, you can connect to Tammy on her website to get this club, to get into the club. It's TammyVincent.com. It's VINCENT. So TammyVincent.com, and join that club if you're really interested in this stuff. It sounds like
And
fun.
I tell people, and I'm not, none of the stuff that $25 a month is absolutely nothing. But I do tell people, even if you do it for 1 month, you get invaluable data, because then it shows you patterns. If you did it like twice a week for a month and then decided never to do it again, it still gives you invaluable data.
Yeah.
Doing it one time is going to be a little more like, okay, that's entertaining, and you'll get back the balancing harmonics. You'll learn a lot, and it
Mhm.
will be like an aha moment. But it's really, it's amazing. And the behind the scenes work that I do is because it's fun, because that is how I learn more about my health practice, and me helping people. I learn about patterns, and we're all patterns. But the biggest one is the stress pattern from the dysfunctional people that grew up in that dysfunction, because it's a cortisol and adrenaline. It's
Oh
a
my
it's a stress
gosh.
hormone issue
Wow.
usually.
So let's talk about, you have the club. Well, what else are you doing with people besides that? You
Besides the
do
club,
one-on-one?
I use that more of a, this is a starting point. I do one-on-one coaching. I absolutely love it. And it's literally just to help people that have those, when you grow up in dysfunction, you have those blocks, and you have those things that follow you around, like the shame and the
Oh,
guilt and the,
yeah.
and the procrastination and the perfectionism. You have all of that stuff. And that is all boils down to your subconscious belief that you're not good enough. And that's the quickest, easiest way to say it.
That seems like a theme of all the people that I talk to and bring on here that work with people. It's the blame, the shame, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough. And it's just people are not feeling good about themselves in
Exactly.
so many ways.
And
And
I tell people, you can, again, you can trick your mind. You can do all the affirmations in the world. But if you say, I am beautiful, I am lovely, I'm amazing, I'm precious, I'm worthy, I'm all this stuff, and then someone asks you to go do something, and you shrink and you cower, and you're like, oh no, because you don't feel like you're good enough to be in that group of people. I'm just giving a hypothetical
yeah,
situation.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It doesn't matter what you say to your mind, it's your body and your nervous system that's stuck.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And that's where, so I tell people, like, if you're going to do an affirmation and you're going to tell yourself you're beautiful and you're worthy, you need to get yourself in the calmest state you can do. And you need to go and lay on the ground with your puppy and roll around on your puppy and tell your puppy how much you love it. And then tell yourself how lovable you are.
Oh, so you really stay in the you're meaning it.
Because
You're in the energy of it.
you need to be in the energy of it. You need to feel it. It's like when people wake up and they have this gratitude practice, and they say, I wake up and they go, I'm grateful for another day, and I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for that. If you're not feeling grateful, it's just words,
Yeah, yeah.
just words.
I hear you. I hear you. Sometimes when I mention somebody to start a grateful practice just to start liking themselves, I don't, I just say, go through your day, find your favorite pair of socks, and just put them on, and just hold them and just say, feel how do they make you feel? And
Right.
that's the gratitude. That's the paying attention to how you're feeling, because sometimes you just got to pay attention to, you're not feeling good. I will never wear these shoes again. They hurt my feet. But how many times will you wear those shoes? Because you're going to just deal with it, suck it up because they look good. But I'm rambling here. But I think we're talking about the same
No,
thing. You're lying to
no, it is.
yourself.
It's honoring yourself.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't honor ourselves ever. We make decisions based on what other people think, what other people want us to do, how other people want us to feel. And if you really made every single decision honoring yourself and your maker, if that's what you believe in, because that's me, like, am I going to make him happy, or am I going to, it's me and but it's all, we're all one, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I don't like to get into a whole lot, but it's okay. If you're honoring that truth, which is how you were created, you will be happier in the long run. But we don't do that.
No.
And then we get this, then we get this tightness in our back, our shoulders are constantly up, or our jaw is clenched, and then we wonder why.
I was just talking to some a friend of mine, and I've been watching him, and every time he works on something, he focuses, his whole face goes like, and I said, "Do you ever wonder why you get headaches?" And I never get headaches. And but when I do something, I've had to pay attention. I have shoulder problems. And somebody said, pay attention to what you're doing with your shoulders and let you drop them. But I'm thinking, what was I thinking about before I did this? Oh, I'm not going to make it. It's not going to work. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Well, that is the key right there, is to be aware, one, and then to ask yourself why. Not to try to, and not to, just what was I thinking? What was going through my mind? I always do a body before story exercise with people. Like when something happens and you notice something in your body, whether it's like you said, your shoulders up or something, first of all, just notice it and just acknowledge it, and then lower it. And I always just say, just ask yourself, what would make this like 1% better right now? Would it be to lower it? Would it be to get up and walk? Would it be to ignore that conversation? Like, what do you need to
Yeah.
make that thing going on right now?
Yeah.
But the biggest one, especially for children of the dysfunction is, and
Yeah.
that have been in this fight or flight for so long, is that 3 a.m. wake up. That
Oh,
is the
tell
one
me
I
about
work.
that. Oh
I
my.
work with a lot of people on that. And it's that waking up. And there's a couple reasons. That's a natural time for your body to start producing cortisol. So that's your stress hormone. It produces it, but it's supposed to go in waves. So
Mhm.
if you are one of those anxious people and you wake up at 3 a.m., you immediately start thinking. And what do you start thinking? Oh my God, I go back to sleep. I got to get up in 4 hours. I got to, I got to, I got to, I got to. Instead of just going back to your body, like lay there. I tell people, do progressive muscle relaxation. Have you ever tried
Mhm.
that?
Oh, I love it. Did you start from the head to the go down to your toes? And
Hmm.
yeah, and
And
you're
every
not
time,
thinking about what it is, blah 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 blah. It makes you think about your body.
just go back to your body, go back to your body. And you can do that with everything. It is so helpful. And then you just eventually will fall back asleep. And there's all kinds of different exercises you can say, but I just say, just feel it in your body and just go, where do I feel it? I mean, I work with people and they say it feels like there's an elephant sitting on their chest. Well, picture the elephant. Think about the elephant. Sit there with it, let it sit on your chest and think about it. Is it big? Is it gray? Give it dimension, give it shape, because that's taking you out of the why am I doing this and how can I fix this? And you're just becoming curious. And when you become curious instead of judgmental or bossy, it softens everything in the room.
I love that concept. Just get friendly with it.
Get friendly with it.
Make it.
And every emotion, every feeling lasts for about 90 seconds and then it passes and there's a new one. So you just got to get through that 90 seconds. But our natural tendency is to run, get out of there, get rid of that feeling, make it go away, make me go to sleep, make me do this, make. I tell people it's like telling a drowning person to swim better.
Yes, you are awesome. Yes,
You know?
yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take care of the problem first. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But if you just keep going back to your body, eventually you will, and just tighten focus on that spot. Picture the elephant getting smaller. If it's an elephant, be like, okay, I see you, elephant. We're not doing this today. I need you smaller. I need you smaller. Focus on the thing. If it's a
Yeah.
fire, just sit with that. And you can explore why later. Just don't give it a story. Just sit with it and get used to sitting with that feeling in your body, because that's energy.
I think that's such a good. Don't figure out the why. Leave the story for later because the story keeps us right into that 90-second. Oh my god. And because with the story, then this the whys. I find why doesn't answer the question. Doesn't answer the healing questions. So
Right.
why am I awake here at 3 a.m.? Let's go through Wikipedia and find out. That's not going to put you back to sleep. In the
No,
story,
yeah,
yeah,
you need to feel safe. Your body needs to feel safe. It doesn't
yeah,
need to figure out why right now, because that is why your nervous system is activated, is because in reality it doesn't feel safe. It thinks there's some kind of threat. So
yeah,
elephant, we're
yeah.
not doing this right now. I see you sitting on my chest. You need to get a little smaller. Because it's like you start with this safe bubble, and then when you grow up in that kind of craziness, your safe bubble is so tiny when you go into adulthood. The area that you give yourself to be truly safe feeling is tiny. And every time you allow that feeling to get a little bigger and to sit with it and realize, hey, that didn't kill me. That safety bubble gets a little
Yeah,
bigger.
let's talk a little bit more about the safe bubble. This is a concept that's new to me. So safe. Yeah, let's start. What is a bubble? What is a safe bubble?
It's just I don't even know where I heard it, or even maybe I even made it up. I don't know, or maybe it was in
Doesn't
my
matter.
own
It sounds
experience.
great. Yeah.
But in my own experience, I feel like when I started everything, like my ability to feel safe was so small. So everything triggered me. Everything was a threat. Everything. So I kind of was like, well, let me start dealing with these little threats one at a time. And so with each one, I was like, oh, that was easy. And it felt like, to me, it felt like my bubble of safety was getting bigger. Each time I
Oh,
could sit with it and I wasn't harmed. So it was like, eventually it's like, now my safe bubble is huge. It's all around me. So when something shocks me, I can quickly just be like, hey, I'm sick. Like, this is okay. I'm good. And I don't sit in
okay.
that story. I don't sit in any of that. But
Okay.
it starts really, really, really small. But you have to give yourself room to let more safe things in. Does that make sense?
Say that it comes from, I heard you say, I got through this thing that I was
Yeah.
afraid of, and I'm not afraid of it anymore.
I'm
So,
not afraid of it anymore.
okay, so you're safe because you know you're okay with that.
Right.
So it's skills. It's
It's just
definitely,
skills. Yeah. It's just, and
yeah,
it's repetitious. It's repetition, just over and over and over again. And
right.
it doesn't matter where you are, where you have to do it.
Mhm.
You can always feel into your body. You can always be like, oh, wow, I got a little clench in my lower back right now. Like, okay, guys, that's a little sharp. Okay, it's okay. A little sharp. We can dull that down a little bit. And then it's all of a sudden you're like, okay, what was I even stressed about?
Oh,
I don't
okay.
even remember.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. What was it? What was it? As you get older, you don't remember stuff anyways, but
Right.
what was I thinking about? But no, but when it's sometimes everything is so front and center in your face.
Well, and especially when you went through trauma, because when you went through trauma, every single experience froze you in a moment of time. So when that thing jumps up, you're now 50 years old. It is absolutely nothing in the big picture, but your nervous system is still frozen back when you were 5. And when you were 5, everything was freaking big. Everything felt big.
You know, I had a friend who I just keep telling these little stories to try to. But I have a friend who was a landscaper, and she went out landscaping, and she had this call from somebody who she hadn't seen in a long, long time. As a matter of fact, it was a childhood friend, a neighbor, who was a neighbor for when she was a child, a smaller child. I said, "Oh, I heard you do landscaping. Come on." And she's like, "I need my bushes trimmed out back," and she was terrified to go to that job. She said, "Those bushes were huge. How am I going to do these huge bushes?" Well, she got there and she realized that her memory was from when she was 7 years old. Those bushes
Mm-hmm.
weren't that huge. She got bigger. And anyway, I thought that was amazing. And she was laughing at herself, but then she tackled the bushes just fine. It's the
Oh, yeah.
memory. It's the memory from, where are you?
And
Um,
most of our triggers are memories. Unfortunately, most of our triggers are memories that we don't have memories of. They're memories in our subconscious. And
yeah.
that's where the work comes with.
Oh
That's
my
where the
God.
real work comes with, is because until you, again, it's 95% of how you act is your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind.
So how do you peel that? How do you get invited into somebody's subconscious mind? Or how do you work with them, people to get there?
Now, I'm not like a hypnotherapist. I don't do any of that, but I am very open to helping people get into their own subconscious mind, as far as just relaxation, being in that, right when like when you wake up in the morning, the very first thing when you wake up, you're in that kind of alpha brainwave, where
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
very open to suggestions. That is why that is a good time to really feed your day positive and stuff like that. But I don't do the actual hypnotherapy where I get into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, okay.
But there are a lot of exercises that you can do that you really, to me, it's more living in the moment right here and making yourself feel safe. And then I've did a lot of inner child work with people, where you are going back and you are sitting with that little child and kind of reparenting that little child and giving that little child the things it needs, right, back then.
Yeah.
And in that, you you can write letters, you can journal. I went through a big stage where I was journaling to myself, and I was writing with my opposite hand as the
Okay.
child. And that really helped me. That's a big tip for people. If you've ever done a lot of journaling, write with your opposite hand. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The psychologists will tell you your brain kind of bounces back and forth and it kind of pulls some things from different sides of your brain. What I discovered is that when I was writing with my opposite side of my hand, I was focused so much on the actual task of writing that I took my ego out of it. And
Oh,
I wasn't trying to decide what I was going to write. I was just focused on the letters. And I know that seems like a very weird
oh my God.
concept,
Yeah.
but I would sometimes read it back and be like, oh, wow. Wow. And then I would write back myself letters. Like if if you wrote a letter to your inner child or your 5-year-old self, then always write a letter back. And you'd be amazed at just that word jumping, what that brings up. But that brings up some of that stuff. So you have to get that's where you're stuck. Your
Yeah.
subconscious mind is stuck in all those memories when you were a child and you were made to feel invalidated or not special or not loved.
Yeah.
That's where it's all
Yeah.
stuck.
I love that tool. I teach automatic writing, and I do it myself. So the intent is to connect with a spirit guide or a ascended master or whatever, and you use your non-dominant hand because of just exactly what you say. Your ego's out of it. You're
Hmm.
allowing. Now, I've never thought of intending to allow that inner child from the unconscious self to come up and say, here's how I feel. Here's what I need. Here's, the time that you ignored me when I telling you, blah, 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 is it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's pretty intense when you start inner child work. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to buy an inner child workbook," and there's a lot to it. And you'll have, like, I remember my therapist that told me, take a picture of yourself as a 3-year-old child or a 5-year-old and put a picture on your mirror, and every day wake up and tell that little you
I've
love
heard that.
her and you're there for her.
You're so cute. Yeah.
I hated that little girl when I first started doing that.
Oh, did you?
I hated her. She
Oh,
was weak, and she should have spoke up, and it was like how could she let me go through the next 20 years? Like, why didn't she say
oh,
something? Like, I didn't
oh
like
my
her.
goodness. Oh
And
my.
that is very normal. That is not abnormal. And then it was like I kept my therapist kept saying, just keep doing it, just keep doing it. You're gonna someday see her for who she is. And then it was like all of a sudden one day I like remember looking and I was like, oh my God, she was so innocent, like so vulnerable. And it was that, and that's what actually really jump started me to all of my healing, because if I could dislike myself so much, then I thought, okay, what are my feelings that I have towards the people that did me wrong? Can I use that same process to see to see the side of them that made them the way they were?
Oh boy. So how'd that go?
It went well. I mean, that's how I forgave my mom for all the horrific things she did to me.
Okay.
Because it was, when she's burning cigarettes on you, you don't think,
Oh,
huh, I wonder if she had a rough child.
no,
Wonder
that
if
would be
she's just
not.
reliving out
Yeah.
her trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't think those things. But it wasn't until I went back and really started, like after that, when I was like, wow, I wonder. Like I had heard stories, but I never explored. And then I started putting pieces together. I'm like, okay, she was 13 and was cutting at 13 years old. And her father, who was a child psychiatrist, sent her to boarding school for 4 years. Not her fault. Like she never got the help she needed. So, and when you can be curious and compassionate and
Mhm.
empathetic, and take the judgment out of things.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about softening the world, making the world safer. So
Yeah.
I don't know, that really worked for me.
Oh, thank you so much. It's wonderful stories. This is awesome. And I kind of wanted to jump into, I don't know if I want to go, there's so many things that you have here. Your website was fantastic. I just loved reading it, so I recommend everyone goes and does that. But the how do you teach somebody, maybe the new generation coming up, if they haven't been taught to have empathy or compassion or really understanding um, how somebody else feels because they don't have that. How do you get that back? How do you bring that into somebody?
I mean, it starts at a very, very young age. And if they haven't been taught that, if they haven't been shown that, all you can do is be the best role model. If you're a parent whose kids, you're like, oh, they're not very empathetic, start having those conversations with them about compassion and love and empathy. And you can do it. Even some people like it, they don't like the emotional side of it. So do the science side of it. I tell people when, when I'm talking to some of my clients and they're like, I am so angry. And I'm like, then you wonder why you're getting back anger. I know it sounds crazy. I'm like, think about the energy of this. Think about the energy and how people co-regulate together. And that when two people are in a room or standing side by side, they're feeding off of each other's energy. And I'm like, so you can be angry, that's fine, but know that that has a ripple effect on everybody around you.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, with the healing thing, when you can't at first start to love yourself. And I'm like, well, if you can't love yourself, act like you are so that the people around you feel love. And it's kind of like, what do you mean by that? Like, it's just, but it is a hard concept. And the best thing I can tell you is healthy people don't hurt people. Hurt people. So if you are feeling that anger and everything else, there's probably some self-doubt, I don't want to say hatred, self-loathing, just feeling that I'm not good.
Yeah.
My best advice is, in every single decision you make in life, set your standards like you would for your own best friend or someone you loved.
Yeah.
Because when you start doing that, when somebody says something to you or you say something and you snap at yourself or you snap at your friend, why did you do that? Like, that's if I treated them like my own best friend, or I treat myself like my own best friend, the standards become more even playing, and it just people, I don't know I don't really exactly know what I'm trying to say, but
doing a wonderful job of that. I asked that question because I see with this disconnect in our society, the empathy is missing. I don't know if you've noticed that occasionally here and there, the person can't feel what the other person's feelings, like,
yep,
or they are not feeling, a person doesn't feel their own feelings.
right.
And
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, if you don't feel your own feelings, it's hard to understand that somebody else may feel differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always just say, it's kind of like when I taught first grade, I always say, give people the benefit of the doubt. If somebody is grumpy, that it's kind of like, when you're dealing with an addiction or you're dealing with somebody that's having a mental health crisis, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I think I'll destroy my family. I think I'll drink myself to death. I think nobody does that. There's a reason. So if you give people the benefit of the doubt and start using words, and that comes into that trauma-informed knowledge, start using words that don't damage people more. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Assume that there's a reason that they're not quite the person that either you want them to be or they want to be.
Exactly. I love that. That's great. You wrote a couple of books that they look fascinating. Tell me about the books that you've written.
Okay. So the first one is a very simple children's book. It's for like probably early teens. And it's a guide. It's literally an A to Z guide called Surviving Alcoholic Parents. And it was just a book that I wrote that I thought, man, I wish I had these general concepts when I was going through this, when I didn't understand what was happening in my world and I didn't understand empathy and compassion and all that. So it's literally, A stands for whatever starts with A, B might be blackout, because I didn't understand blackout drunks as a kid. I didn't understand that when you were drinking and you would say something to someone so horrific and horrible that you didn't remember it, that you truly didn't remember it. So that was very confusing. And then C might be compassion. D might be, I don't know, denial. Like all of the things that kind of just a general overall summary of living with someone that is suffering from an addiction, but very simply written. So I would say it's like on a 7th to 8th grade level.
Okay.
Wow. And then the other one, because obviously, and they both got banned on Amazon, but you can still buy them. You can buy them through me because I have a bunch of them until I figure out another. Long story. We could get into that. That'll be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. So they can find it under TammyVincent.com.
Right. They're on, right.
Resource page, think, right?
The Surviving Alcoholic Parents one is also, I think, on Barnes and Nobles, but I'm just waiting to get a new printer. I'm going to rewrite them all, but I do have several copies. And you can also get, if anybody's interested, you can get the PDF version for 99 cents. I have that on my website.
Okay.
So if anybody just wants to buy it, means 99 cents. You'll get a PDF, just browse through it. It's a quick, easy read, probably about 120 pages. But but it is a good little guidance. And it's, like I said, it's things that I wish they had told me when I was 12 years old. So I would have understood what was going on. The next one I wrote, which is, it's more of a guide for teachers and educators and people that have the disconnected kids in the classroom on how to kind of empower them without calling them out.
I love that book. That one I was really like, I got to get this one. Teachers could have some skills or some tools to you could totally see it in the classroom. I'm sure when you're a teacher, this kid is not connecting.
Right. And, again, go back to giving them the benefit of the doubt. People were born, they want to learn, they want to participate, they want to do those things if the situation is right. So I always say, if one of my 51 teachers when I was in school had ever said, Tammy, why do you sleep all day long on the desk? I might have had the guts to say, because it's the only place I sleep with both eyes closed. But no one ever did.
Oh, they just probably wrote you up.
I was the bad kid. I was the lazy kid. I was the kid that didn't want to learn. I was the spoiled kid. I mean, I was all these kids, but I wasn't any of those. I just was tired because I didn't sleep at home.
Gosh, honey, yeah.
So it teaches them, but it also teaches them how to do like some little exercises about what to do with like a younger class to empower these children all the time. Like, and teach them to empower each other and teach them like exercises to do as a class to bring camaraderie together and to let the kids know they're not alone. I used to have a program when I was in first grade called the Magic Mailbox. And the kids could put anonymous letters, pictures, they could do whatever they wanted. They could have a brother write something for the mailbox. Nobody knew what it was about, like who put stuff in there. And then we would go over all the stuff in the Magic Mailbox. And I got a lot of pretty deep questions, and and so I would talk about them. I would talk honestly and openly as much as you could with per grade level, and you could see the kids looking around because nobody knew who wrote it. And it's like they formed these little bonds and these little cliques. And it was like they were supporting each other. But I had a little girl reach out to me when she was 20. So it was 14 years later. And she said, she found me on Facebook and she said, Ms. V, how you doing? She's like, I can't believe you're not teaching. And she said, I just want to say thank you, because if it wasn't for the Magic Mailbox, I don't think I'd be here. And it was like, it was all worth it at that moment.
Yeah.
And she had a really bad experience, and she came out during that year and let people know. And somebody was sent to prison because of it.
Thank God.
So who knows how long that might have gone on, but it was a safe place. And that's why I think we all need a safe place, and kids need to know they have a safe place. And that's the big thing. And they say with a child, if they just have one person that is that go-to safe person, they can make it, but they need one. So if you're a parent and you don't think you're that one for your kid, you better go find someone for them.
Or give them permission to find somebody, and don't
give them permission, whether it's a counselor, a teacher, a coach, whatever it is, they have to have somebody they can trust, because otherwise they're sitting here with me when they're 50 years old and they're doing nervous system regulation work because everything they wanted to say that never could is stuck in their tissues.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think we all have something like that, no matter. But that is beautiful. That is so well said. Nervous regulation work. That's what we've been describing this whole time. The inner child and me.
And you can teach children to let it out. Like if a kid don't ever stifle a child. That's my best advice. If they're mad, let them be mad. Just as long as they know they can't be mad and hurt someone. They can't be mad and cuss at someone. They can be mad though. That is normal. That's an emotion. You're allowed to feel them. Most of us were taught we couldn't feel them. Whether they were good or bad, we just couldn't have them. It was too much, too loud, too this, too that.
Yeah, I totally can relate to that. We could not have our feelings.
And I was guilty of it. I can remember yelling at my daughter for growling at her brother. I remember I was like, don't growl. Now I'm like, you want to growl? Go growl.
Didn't hurt him for her to growl. So,
but when, before I knew any better, that's how I did my kids too. Don't growl at your brother. That's not nice. Well, she needed to get that out of her system. And it took me a little while to figure that out. So are they traumatized? Maybe a little bit, but hey, we do the best we can, right?
Oh, we do. I mean, and then next generation will be a whole nother list of what you should have, shoulda.
And there's no perfect parent. So if you're
No.
out there listening and you are a parent and you're like, crap, I've really messed this up,
Yeah.
or my
Yeah.
kids are, triggered because of my trauma. And that could very well be true. But every step you make to getting yourself better is they're going to see that and they're going to heal along with you.
Well, they
And they're
will.
going to know that you did your
Yeah.
best. If you say, oh my gosh, I realize I'm doing this to my children, who gives a crap? That's going to make a difference. So you only know the first step is awareness. And until you are aware, it's what I tell my clients, until you are aware, you did nothing wrong.
Mhm.
You only did what you knew to do. You only knew what you knew. You didn't know what you didn't know. Now that you know, now it's your responsibility.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah.
And not to go back and beat yourself up about the past because it's too late. You can't do that. All you can do is make the better choices going forward.
Yeah. I feel like there's something when the kids are still, you're still having the kids around you. They haven't hit the road yet. They're not, when they see you make a change, when they see you say, I'm sorry, or I realize now that that wasn't the right thing to do, that helps the kid a lot.
Oh, yeah. There is nothing better you can do to your kids than just apologize. In the heat of the moment, you get triggered, you haul off and yell at them or something. Just go back later and just be like, I'm sorry. Either I don't know what made me do that, but I didn't mean it, or I'm sorry, I'm working on that.
Yeah. I see
But
what's
they
going
need to
on.
know that you understand. They need, because then what'll happen is when they make a mistake, they will feel okay coming to you and saying, I'm sorry, I don't know why I did that, or maybe I do, but I
Yeah.
didn't mean
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
It's give and take.
Yeah. Let's
It's
talk
give and
about why
take.
you did it. Let's talk about what made that happen. And then you find out this huge story underneath it instead of your tit for tatting over here, but there's a huge big
Right.
story underneath it. Like whatever it is.
Right. And give your kids the benefit of the doubt. They're going through a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, when I was in
Yeah.
school, we didn't have school shootings. We didn't have all this trauma. We didn't have
Right.
kids doing what we didn't have all that stuff. And it was still hard. So I can't even imagine now. So be the sounding board, be that person that your kids can trust. I mean, that's the best thing. And when you don't accept one word answers, when you come in, you go, how was your day? Fine. Okay, well, you're clearly got a puss on your face. You're clearly not happy. It wasn't fine. Do you want to talk about it? No.
No.
Okay, well, when you're ready, I'm here.
Yeah.
Open the door. You got to keep opening the door. And if it's been
Yeah.
shut for 14, 15 years, start opening it little by little.
Only a little.
Start opening it little at a time.
I discovered something, a mother or two, uh, divorced, went through a whole lot of stuff. And when I needed to talk to my children, and we really needed to have hard talks, we didn't sit around the table. I gave them a project. One time I got the best conversations. We had melamine kitchen cabinets. Don't ever get those. Well, we washed them down, and we spent
Hmm.
the whole afternoon washing them down. And I got so much information from those kids of what was heavy in their hearts, what they were saying. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, what is that? I mean, I figured that was just where their brains were at. That's how they work as kids. But
because their guard was down.
Mhm.
If you walk up to your kid and you see they got a puss on their face and you're like, what's the matter? Tell me what's the matter. They get defensive.
Right.
It's human nature. Once you're defensive, you're not getting the information you need because they're in protection mode.
Yeah.
So if you're just having a conversation and stuff starts to come out and you just start having these conversations, their guard is down. They're not in defensive mode.
And they want, and then little bit comes out, and then they want to spill all the beans.
Yep. And that's why it's just, okay, well, you look upset. If you need to talk about something, come tell me, I'm in here, or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
But you're not going to catch the signs if you got your nose stuck in your phone, are you? So,
mm-hmm.
so
Yep.
how's your day go? And then you're like, you missed it. You know,
Yeah.
that's the balancing that I feel like this generation has that mine did not have.
Yeah. I really think it is. It's people just don't have each other's undivided attention anymore. And that is so critical to connection, true connection.
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah. And that's true, that being in the moment and having that connection, I think that's where the healing is. That's what,
Hmm.
but
Yeah. No, healing never happens on the defensive.
I would think
Because
so.
again, when you're on the defensive, you're not even working from the right side of your brain. If you're on the defensive, you're working from your amygdala, and that is fight, flight, freeze, fawn. That is all it knows,
Yeah.
protection.
Oh my gosh.
you
Okay.
know.
So you have told us some amazing things, and I hope people look you up. Do you have any last thing you want to add? This has been a great conversation.
Oh no, I could literally talk to you all day long, honestly. But yeah, the only thing I just want to say is that a lot of people are out there listening. A lot of people are hurting. A lot of people are having regrets and going down that shame spiral, and it's just not worth it. Just don't do it to yourself. Love yourself like your own best friend, and know that no matter what you do, whether it's picking up a book, picking up a podcast, listening to something, every little bit you learn and all the awareness that you get, if you just implement just tiny, tiny, tiny little pieces of it here and there, you're going to be on your way. But you're worthy. You're lovable, you're worthy, you're kind, you're good. You just have to believe it.
Amen. So find Tammy at tammyvincent.com. You can also, when you go on our website, look for the AO biofrequency and the club. And also, you have a podcast, and I didn't even mention that. Do you?
Oh yeah, my podcast is called Adult Child of Dysfunction. Pretty simple, right? But
Yeah.
go on there. There's all, I think I have 300, and I think I just was working on the 304th episode when you came on. So it's over 300 episodes. It's
Oh my
5%
God.
globally ranked. So finally got some listeners on there. So that's fun. But go on there, and there's all kinds of fun things you can do. Check out the show notes. Like, you can actually ask me a question on a voice thing, and I will reply to the question in the podcast. So you can hear yourself on a podcast if that sounds
Oh,
fun to you.
okay.
Yeah, it's just called Speak Pipe. You can ask like up to 50 seconds or 60 seconds, ask me a question, and then I'll insert it into an episode. And I just started doing that not too long ago. And I want people to take me up on that because that's super fun. But if you want a guest, if you know someone that would be a good guest, if you just want to listen to it, scan the topics, because there is every single topic out there.
And
I mean,
it's
there.
on your website. If you go to tammyvincent.com, you can
Mhm.
find the. We're going to have to talk offline about this. You and I. We have to make an appointment to. But in the meantime,
Perfect.
in the
Perfect.
meantime, thank you so much for being on this show. And to all of the listeners in this episode, please take advantage of of Tammy and what she has to offer. I feel like she can open doors that maybe you haven't opened yet. And these podcasts are all about soul powered living. They're all about being the best that you could possibly be. Everyone that comes on this show is available to you. So take advantage of this. And for now, I we have to go. This is the end of the episode, but please, live your best life, stay safe, stay happy, and know that you're worth it. And until
Amen.
next time, amen.
Are you feeling a disconnect in your life? I see it's time to make a direct connection to find your soul's power and wisdom. Join Nancy Smith to learn tools and steps you can take to create